You know how guitars are made of wood? Sometimes that's not a thing.
Guitar Stuff with John.
Welcome to another Guitar Stuff with John. Shameless self-promotion. Anyhow, this is a really cool episode. I have had, over the last 19 months, I've had dozens of people ask me about what my opinion was of composite guitars. In other words, guitars built of graphite and other materials, non-wooden guitars. So, y'all know my love of Ovation. I love Ovations because they're just cool. They have a composite back, a bowl, and paired with a wooden top. And I always just loved them because of the people that I grew up listening to who played them. They're different. They don't sound like a regular guitar. They don't play like one. They don't look like one. Very cool. But after Ovation, you start getting into the other companies that build composite instruments. I've owned and played several. I've tried a bunch of them, and this is not saying they're not great guitars, but I've owned Composite Acoustic, which I believe is, if I'm not mistaken, is out of Louisiana, I think, if I remember correctly. I've tried Rain Song. I've tried a couple other ones that I can't even remember because I disliked them so much that I didn't bother. And the problem with these guitars for me is the sound. Number one, they don't quite sound like a guitar very much. They sound quiet and muted, and they're usually incredibly heavy. You wouldn't believe how heavy some of these guitars are. They're easily 25% heavier than a wooden guitar. Also, the biggest thing that really got under my skin was the inability to make simple adjustments to the instrument. Sometimes these composite guitars I would pick up, the saddle and bridge were all one piece. You couldn't take the saddle out and lower it. There's no truss system in the neck. And so if the action that you got off the shelf was the action you were stuck with. And most times that action was absolutely horrendous. So bad that you just can't really play it. And so I've been, searching around for to see if there was some company somewhere that makes a guitar that I could review on here because so many people have asked me questions. Well, I found one. A company out of the United States called Klos. Klos Guitars. Composite instruments. I like to say it's not a guitar, but it's close. I don't mean that. It is a guitar, believe me, every bit of one. And so, a fascinating instrument. The back and sides are all composite material. This beautiful kind of graphite pattern. I love it. We'll take a close look at it in a second. And it's incredibly light, really, really light. It has flex in it, which is abnormal for a lot of these guitars. And then it has on the top what I understand to be a 3-ply top. There's material sandwiched in between two pieces of this graphite material, this composite material. It has a proper bridge, which is very nicely designed and hand carved. It's very nice. And a saddle that comes out. And there's a bridge plate inside made of wood. So if you wanted to put a K&K in this guitar, you could very, very easily. The other thing it does, which is very, very interesting to me, that I personally would never do this because I guess I don't have patience for it. But the neck comes right off very, very easily. All you have to do is loosen the strings and you unscrew these 4 long bolts that go right up into the neck, and the guitar fits in a case that's only the size of the body. So traveling with it is incredibly easy. And they do a smart thing. They ship this guitar disassembled. So when I got it, I pulled it out of the case. The neck was, attached to the side of the bag. The screws and there's a little screwdriver, like a proprietary Klos Phillips screwdriver on a little. I'll show you one in a second. And the screws, the little driver, and a capo, a nice D'Addario, one of my favorite capos. I'll show you that after a while too. So the capo's across there holding the strings down. Everything's off. The strings are attached by the bridge pins, and you just pull the whole thing out. You put the neck in there. You put these 4 screws in, and you got a guitar. And I strung it up. I tuned it up, and boys, I'm going to tell you something. Obviously, this is not a wooden instrument, so it's going to have some different properties to it, but the sound of this instrument, you can hear it ringing while I'm talking. This guitar is really, really lively. It's nice and loud. It's not... it doesn't have the huge woody bottom end of a wooden guitar, but there's something about the tone of it that makes it a little bit addictive. This guitar is super cool. Cool as hell. And the other thing I love about this instrument is it plays like butter. The action on this guitar is just amazing, all the way up to the hole, and the intonation is dead on, which that boggles my mind. I'm an idiot, and I put this neck on by myself without even looking at the directions, and the intonation on this guitar is... just listen at that. Get her tuned first, but listen to that. Those are perfect fifths. One of these. There's a Robin Boucher move. It's unbelievable. The intonation is so good. I don't even know how the hell they're doing it, except that obviously they're using some pretty goddamn serious equipment to build these guitars, and they have got the mathematics of an instrument to a T. So I'm going to show you this guitar just up close. It's really, there's nothing much to show you. It's just such a compact, well thought out kind of piece of gear that, it's Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's just a nice piece of very pretty composite material. They've got some beautiful machine heads on here. So this is something I've never even seen before. Patented ratio, they're called. And yeah, as a matter of fact, like the only thing about this guitar that sort of bothers me is how close the machine heads are together because the headstock is so tiny. But it's a travel instrument. Although myself, I would not take this guitar apart again. I just don't. For me, it's not necessary. I just put it in the bag. The bag actually has a neck that comes up. If you want to leave it in one piece, you can put it in there in one piece, which is very, very cool. Yeah, let's take a closer look at this, and then maybe let's take a look at the other one they sent me, which is their actual mini travel guitar. They were, I believe, this was the second sort of project they did to do a full kind of Dreadnaught size instrument. They first came out with the smaller version travel guitar, and also we're going to plug this bad boy in. So let's take a close look at it right now. So here we are at the headstock, and you can see close up on this thing that this composite, this graphite pattern, I love that. I just love that. I can't help it. I just do. And it's got, of course, a graphite nut. I'm not sure what the fingerboard is made of. It's composite as well, I'm sure. I like the placement of the fret markers. I think that's really classy looking. It sets off the guitar because it's really the only bling on the whole surface of the instrument are these little white dots, and I really like those. It's got beautiful frets in it. The fretboard itself is incredibly well dressed, very clean, and then you're just there. You're just on this one-piece top body, right? One-piece body and back and sides, right? And then this top, which is a tri-layered top, 2 sheets of carbon fiber with a fill in between. There's our cool little sticker. You see it? And I like that it's signed by Adam. Signed by him, handmade in the United States of America. It's very cool. And you can see all the carbon fiber in the back of the guitar back there. That's so cool. And this really unique bridge, I like the way this is designed. It's got that little accent there, that detail that goes from thin to fat on the bass side of the bridge. And not sure what kind of pins these are. They are probably composite as well, and the saddle is black, likely composite. And there's a pretty pattern. This thing really shows up well in the light. This would look really cool on stage, I think. And then the back and sides are just more of the same. There's this beautifully glossed carbon fiber material. Nice edges. Nothing's sharp. Everything's rounded. There's your 4 bolts that hold the neck on. Your strap button is right there, which is very cool. There's the seam between the neck and the body, which is flawless. The neck is flawless. It's got not one thing wrong with it. These are the Tusk ratio machine heads that I really like these. I've never seen them before, so those are very cool. And then at the back end, we just see the end pin for your strap and your jack. And that's it. And the battery and the guts are all inside in there, as you can see, maybe. And your tone and volume wheels are just here at the top of the sound hole. So this is a very, very good design. Like I was never a big fan of this type of instrument made of these materials, but they really knocked this out of the park. I think they've perfected an idea with this instrument that makes this a viable choice, for depending on what kind of music you play and where you travel and all these things. This is not a guitar just for a campfire. This is a sure enough tool that you could use on stage, in the studio, whatever. So there you go. There's our Klos full-size Dreadnaught carbon fiber guitar, 100% carbon fiber. Awesome, love it. So there's a close-up of the guitar. Fascinating. It is. It fascinates me because, well, I want to show you one more thing that is just freaked me out. You guys all know I am not a fan of piezo undersaddle UST systems, right? Piezo, K&Ks are piezos, but they're applied differently. But at any rate, undersaddle pickups for me, I hate them. They sound horrible. They're khaki. They don't really sound much like the guitar. Well, they have I think it's a Fishman sonotone in here, and I've never really experienced this pickup very much. It's not something I would ever buy or install, but there's a volume wheel and another wheel inside, which appears to draw sound from some other source than the undersaddle. Which there might be, it's taken some body sound from the guitar somehow, which I'm not sure exactly how that's done, but that's another video. I'm not really that concerned about it. What I'm concerned is how good this guitar sounds. And boys, this guitar sounds unbelievable plugged in. So I'm just going to put the mic over here sort of in front of my amp, away from the acoustic source, and just play a little. This just blew me right away. And that amp is flat, and I'm not even sure where I have the tone wheel set, but I like the tone where it is, so that's it. Almost nailed her. Boy, this thing sounds so good. So good. It's actually quite startling because I have, as I said before, I've used all the other composite instruments, and basically when you plug them in, they just sound like a louder, slightly more crappy version of themselves. This thing, when you plug it in, it's got that snap and wood. Like it's super, super cool. I mean, damn. I can see a lot of my friends wanting to use one of these guitars because the thing that really appeals to me playing this thing is that, well, number one, the playability. It's so easy to play. And it's got tons of color and tone, and it doesn't sound like wood. But here's the deal. And this is the thing that scares a lot of people off guitars like this. This guitar is not supposed to sound like wood. It's supposed to sound like the best version of composite instruments. People have been striving for this for 50 years to find a way to build a guitar without using wood because, wood there's a finite supply of it, right? So over the years, they've done different types of composite instruments and they never sound good. So there's been a drive to create an instrument that's made of composite that sounds good, and this does. This is the best sounding composite instrument I've ever played. And I'm surprised. To be honest with you, I'm surprised. And when I called these boys up and I have to send these guitars back after I'm done reviewing them. And I was pretty JP with them. I was like, okay, boys. So what are you doing? How are you doing this? How are the guitars set up? Is there a truss system? Is there a bridge plate? How do you do this, and this? And I was pretty harsh with them, and just said, this is what I want. If you send me this guitar and it's no good, you're gonna get a bad review. I told them straight up, and they were like, no, we're gonna build you a couple and send them on, right? So now I'm slightly embarrassed that I even asked all those questions, because not only did they make a great sounding guitar and great playing guitar, they chose, in my opinion, the proper pickup for this guitar. I think they also are used to using K and Ks. Yay. But for the way that this sounds and reacts, I'm probably going to leave the Fishman in it until I might get tired of it after a while. But it reacts to this guitar a lot differently than a wooden instrument, I think. And that's a good thing. It's got a ton of personality, and it just sounds cool. It doesn't sound like a Boucher or any other wooden instrument. It sounds like a Klos. And I think that's what they were going for. They're trying to create a new dimension in composite body guitars. And they've done it. No question. Let's now take a look, just for fun, at the little wee one. There's a travel version, so let's take a look at that one. So here is our wee little travel size Klos. It comes in a bag like so. The neck is fastened here with two loops. The strings are actually traveling into the bag, and it has a roll-out neck, so you can put it back in the bag assembled. And yeah, so let's just take a look at it. I'll show you how this came to me. Carefully. There's the guitar. You see, that's the way it ships to you. So as you see, there's some masking tape over the pins, so they don't come out in shipping, which they shouldn't. And there is some masking tape over the saddle, so it also doesn't come out. And then right here in the neck recess, right there is a bag of toolage, which is all of your necessary Klos gear right here in this little bag. In the bag is your Allen key. Beautiful. People should put those in every guitar. And your 4 neck bolts, like so, right there. And this cute little Klos miniature screwdriver. Has the logo on the side there, Klos. And it's just a little Phillips screwdriver. So basically what you do is you make sure your strings aren't twisted. Put this on there like so, make sure it's all straight. And that's all there is to it. The neck is now in the proper position. There's a capo with Klos logo on it. That's like a Diodario aircraft metal. I love this kind of capo. I use these all the time. It's holding the strings fast so they don't come off the spindles on the headstock, right? So you leave that on until you finish putting the neck on. And then you just take your 4 screws, and there's 4 holes in the back of the guitar. And you just go in there with your fingers and get them started. I usually go kitty corner with these things. One more. There's all 4 screws started. And then you just take your little miniature screwdriver and boom, I'm going to tighten these up. Okay, so I got them all tightened. So you're going to take this and make sure that they're tight enough that it's pretty tight. Don't over tighten this. Especially you want to watch to make sure that you're not over tightening to the point where you're putting a dimple in the back. So you just got to get it tight where it's, you know, sort of finger tight. Don't strip something out. And there you go. The guitar is together. Everything's ready to go. There's even a pickup in this one. This is going to be cool. So now I will tune it. Remove the capo. Well, actually, put some pressure on the strings first. Okay, so I've got some basic pressure on the strings. Sounds great. Take the capo off. I love these capos. They're not quite like the Dario type, but they're the same idea, and they're just really good capos. It's so cool that they put that in there with the guitar. So I've got her a little bit up, almost to standard, and it's amazing to me that when you tune this guitar up, it doesn't have any fear. Like there's nothing cracking or popping or making weird noises. Like it's solid, this thing. These machine heads are nice. These machine heads are actually made by Tusk, one of my favorite saddle companies, nut companies as well. They make these. They're called the Tusk Ratio. So it's a very, very tiny body. Intonation, dead on the money. Wow. It's incredible. The intonation on both of these guitars is just flawless. And the same thing, the action. It is a guitar that plays like the most beautiful wooden guitar you've ever seen, except it's in this little tiny form factor. This is something that you could sit on the couch and practice and move over to an actual guitar of wood and play your butt off, because the scale, it's a guitar. And it's beautifully, it's just so easy to play. Just gorgeous. You can see how it changes when I take it away from my body. It's really cool. Like, this is an instrument that, you know, I could see having around just to practice. It's so small and it's quiet. Now, just for fun, let's plug this bad boy in and see what it does. This has the same pickup in it as the other guitar, I'm assuming, and the wheels are the same. I think that's just a tone wheel. Holy crap! This is ridiculous. This guitar sounds like the Dreadnaught, but it's tiny. That is stupid. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Wow. Holy shit. What a sound out of this thing. kind of hear that. You can kind of hear that small body hump in the sound, sort of a little bit buckety, you know. It's in there, but of course this is completely flat. Let's see what happens if we dip out some mids. Took a little bit of mids out of it. Okay, so here's problem number one. I just noticed, and it's the pickup. The little E string is not the same volume as the rest of the strings. A big deficit there. But that could be just a matter of like seating this or letting it seat over a few hours. Actually, pressing it down helped a little bit. But that's the problem with piezos. I hate them because of that. It's a little better now. So that could just be it. You could just have to fool with this a little bit. Because another reason why I wouldn't take them apart again. Because I don't want to have to deal with that string pressure coming off that piezo every time. Once you get a piezo, an under saddle system where it's working across all 6 strings, if you take all the pressure off the saddle, there's a great chance you're going to end up having to reseat that element, and it's just a pain in the butt. But as I said before, these guys also use K and K. Yay! So you could order them with a K and K installed instead of this, which I would. I would absolutely put, if I kept either one of these guitars, I would, the Dreadnaught, I'm not sure, it's pretty good. But I would definitely be wanting to put a K and K in these guitars because it's so much easier. That's astounding, the body size of this thing. And it sounds huge when it's plugged in, and it's just so comfortable to play. It's just sort of that right volume, too, when you're sitting on the couch. And isn't that pretty? It's got a surprising amount of bottom end for such a small body. And, yeah, so there you go. There's our wee one. And our big one, Klos guitars. I want to thank Adam and George and everybody down there that's working. These guitars are very impressive, and I would use one of these without question on stage, or even as this would be really cool to record with as a different voice, right? It almost sounds like a ukulele acoustically. It has a bit more color than that, but it would be really cool voice to play over a microphone on a recording. That guitar as well, I think, well, you can probably hear it in this video because I'm using a studio mic to record this. That guitar sounds fantastic acoustically. They're not cheap, I can tell you that. This acoustic electric version Dreadnaught is over $2,000 US. But so are all the other companies that do this. All of them, and some of them much more than that. Rain Songs and Composite Acoustic and all these different companies that do build these instruments, they are not cheap, man. And the reason is because there's a tremendous amount of technology in this. It's not woods and importing woods and hiring luthiers and finishes and all this other stuff. It's literally science. They're building these guitars by hand, one at a time, in a small shop, and they've just really started reaching out to the world. So my advice to you, if you like this kind of thing and you want a little bit of inspiration that's not wood, right? Because that's what they're great for. They just have a different voice, a different playability, incredible playability on these guitars. If you want something that's different, or something that's impervious to weather, humidity, I mean, I can just see a lot of guys that I know playing this Dreadnaught guitar because nothing's going to affect it. Nothing. It's just incredible. You could drop this guitar in the lake and pull it out and still sound the same. And that's a really handy thing to have when you're traveling into hot summer festivals, touring in the wintertime when your guitars are in the trunk or the back of the car and they're freezing when you get out to go have a lunch at the restaurant. These guitars will never be affected by any of that. They're completely adjustable. You get a truss system in both guitars. Even this one has a truss system. That's amazing. And if you do want to take them apart, it's 4 screws. Bing, 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 bing. The neck's off. You can put it in this tiny little travel bag and fly with it. This neck part all rolls up, and you just put that in your overhead compartment, and you've got a guitar to practice with at the hotel or wherever, whatever the hell you're doing. If you're going camping, if you're going whatever, it's just so slick, and the quality is super, super high. So anyhow, there's my first foray into sitting here talking to you about composite carbon fiber guitars, and I'm super impressed with these guys, and I hope they do well. Their website is in the links below, and if you want an instrument like this, I highly recommend going to these guys first, because these 2 guitars kind of blew me away. They weren't what I really was expecting from any company building an instrument that has 0 wood in it, except for the little bridge plate inside, and which is a great addition because K&K. You can put a K&K in this guitar and it's going to sound fabulous. I think probably even better than the Fishman, because you're going to be hearing the body of the instrument, and the body of these instruments are very lively. So there you go. There's my first little foray with our friends at Klos Guitars. Thanks again, Adam, for innovating and finding ways to do things that haven't been done before. At least not in this way and with this much success. And there you go. There's another guitar stuff with John. I hope you like this. They're not wood. But who the hell cares? I love them. We'll see you soon. Guitar stuff with John. If you like what you see here, give us a like. So hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And yeah, we'll have more from these guys as time goes on, I'm sure. So go check them out. The website's down below. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of sad to see these go back. All right, guys. We love yous. Go play your graphite, composite, acoustic, whatever. Just grab a damn guitar and play. Doesn't matter what it is. But one of these would be nice to have. Love you guys. See you next time.